thank you very much for clicking on this video to start off. I do apologise for sounding like an IELTS recording or an English test. It's the best I can do with my accent, and I know the microphone quality isn't great, but thank you so much, and here's the video. The Ballon d'Or is widely regarded as the most prestigious individual trophy there is in football. It's the coronation for a player whose season has just been spectacular for him and his team. Every year, the same trophy is given out, but not all Ballon d'Or winners are made equal. Some have better seasons than others. And that's why today, in this video, we'll be ranking every single Ballon d'Or winning campaign since 1990. For a question of time and my sanity, I only went through every winner since 1990 because that feels like the beginning of modern football. And I didn't want this video to last 4 hours, even though it probably will be past the hour mark once everything is finished. To clarify, we will be ranking the winners based on their campaign that season and not their career as a whole. For example, I'm going to take the example of Eden Hazard and Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo had the better career, but if you take Eden Hazard's 2018-19 season, it would be better than Ronaldo's 03-04 season. So the criteria I used was individual statistics, team success, trophies, importance to the team, and in a second tier, which also influenced my decisions, was cultural impact and whether he should have won the Ballon d'Or that season. So, without further ado, let's get onto the list and start off with number 35. In 35th and last place, in the 1994 to 1995 season, it's the former footballer and president of Liberia, George Weah. Although he won the Ballon d'Or while playing for Milan in October of 1995, he did most of the work with Paris Saint-Germain from 1994 to 95. During that season, he bagged 18 goals and 4 assists in all competitions. The most of them coming in the Champions League with 8 goals on the way to losing in the semi-final to AC Milan. To that, he added a Coupe de France and Coupe de la Ligue double. However, there is an elephant-sized problem in the room. George Weah was atrocious in the league. He scored 7 goals and bagged 3 assists as PSG dropped from first to third. And you add that in big games, he really didn't have that much impact. 1 goal in the Champions League knockouts and not having a huge impact on the semi-final losses. And furthermore, in both title games he won, the Coupe de France and the Coupe de la Ligue, he didn't register a goal or an assist in either game. The 1994 to 95 George Weah season just wasn't really that good when you compare it to the rest of the list. He failed to win a major trophy, so whether it be an international cup, a League Cup or a Champions League, and he wasn't in contention in that league. Yes, his Champions League run is famous and he scored that goal against Bayern. But when you look at the list of future winners, they win more or their stats are a lot better. And Yuri Litmanen should have won that year for Ajax. Following George Weah in the list is Fabio Cannavaro's 2005 to 2006 Ballon d'Or winning campaign. It's extremely hard to judge when a defender wins the Ballon d'Or because, first of all, there haven't been that many cases of defenders winning it, and second of all, stats aren't really the main focus. However, that doesn't change the fact that Fabio Cannavaro's season that year wasn't that good. So, to kick things off, technically he didn't win the Serie A because, well, Juventus got disqualified, so they finished 20th and got relegated to Serie B. So as a true leader, he fled to Madrid in the summer of 06. Summer where he also captained the Azzurri to a World Cup win. What really helped his case for the Ballon d'Or was the Italian squad's style of play. Absolute harambol. I'm talking full defence for the whole game and scoring a goal off a Matteo Materazzi header. The cracks really start to appear when you realise how bad Cannavaro was for Madrid in 2006 and 2007 and how much his stats, well, his defending stats, were inflated by the best player on both the Juventus and Italian team, Gigi Buffon. Furthermore, when you really look at the Italian team that won the World Cup, Pirlo was much better for Italy than Cannavaro. If you look elsewhere, Zidane should have won it if he didn't completely lose his cool and get rage-baited by Materazzi in a World Cup final. In that French team, there also was Thierry Henry, who has one of the most complete seasons of his career, bringing Arsenal to a Champions League final. And Ronaldinho, who wasn't even in the top 3, although he managed a La Liga Champions League double while going for 20 goals and 20 assists. Fabio Cannavaro, you did not deserve that Ballon d'Or, and even by a defender's standards, that season just isn't that good. Coming in at number 33, and depending on what you think of football, to be honest, it's Roberto Baggio's 1992-93 season. It's pretty harsh, but seriously, he just won a Europa League. Roberto Baggio's 1992-93 season was his statistical peak. While playing for Juventus, he would go off scoring 30 goals and 12 assists in all competitions, playing as a number 10 as well, might I add. Add to that 7 goals and 6 assists for the Italian squad. This season statistically looks like one of the best, if you ignore Messi and Ronaldo. The problem is the team success. Baggio captained Juventus to their only trophy that season. Yes, the UEFA Cup win over Dortmund, which, yes, is technically a big trophy, but when you look at the 4th place in Serie A and the loss in the Italian Cup semi-finals, Baggio's season doesn't start to look that complete, and that's why it places this low. However, this season did cement Roberto Baggio as one of the great. He was scoring wonder goals all season long, with the most notable being the brace in the UEFA Cup final first leg. Yes, the Europa League final used to be played in 2 legs, one home and away. Baggio would then proceed to take the great momentum of the 1992-93 season into the 1993-94 season and into the 1994 World Cup, which he famously won, by the way, yes. But he didn't blaze the penalty over Brazil. Roberto Baggio, you are a great player, but that 1993 Ballon d'Or season, it just isn't it. Coming in at number 32, and probably one of the least deserved Ballon d'Ors when you look at it, but still a great player, Luka Modric and his 2018 Ballon d'Or. To this day, I love Luka, but it doesn't make sense whatsoever. As a central midfielder, Luka Modric was a key piece in both Real Madrid's 3-peat Champions League squad and captaining Croatia's World Cup run. He bagged 5 goals and 9 assists in all competitions, with 2 of those goals coming in the World Cup. Modric would, however, be a bit better in the group stage than he was in the knockout rounds, with probably the peak of his World Cup being that goal against Argentina. Luka would still carry and be the best player on the Croatian team and carry them to their best result ever, losing in the World Cup final to France, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately for me, because I'm French, so I was very happy when Luka lost. But that led him to win the best player of the World Cup in 2018, which would ultimately be the sole reason he won the Ballon d'Or in 2018. In the Champions League, he didn't score an assist in the knockout phase, but was still so important in the midfield trio, which he formed with Casemiro and Kroos. To add to that, he was great in Real Madrid's win in the Supercopa de España over Barcelona. But the first chink in the case of Modric's Ballon d'Or season was Real Madrid was woeful in La Liga. They finished 3rd behind Atleti, which, when you have Ronaldo, kind of isn't forgivable. And the biggest problem, and why this ranks so low, is that it's nowhere near a Ballon d'Or winning season. I'll say this again, Luka Modric's 2017-18 season isn't that special even by Luka Modric standards. It's nowhere near a Ballon d'Or winning season. And especially when you look at the performances of the other players in 2018. Whether you look at Messi, who won La Liga and had 45 goals and 20 assists. You also have Ronaldo, who went ballistic that season with 44 goals and 15 of those coming in the Champions League, which he pretty much single-handedly won. Yes, he scored that goal against Juventus. And if you want to put international success forward, since Ronaldo and Messi's Russia campaign wasn't that good, Griezmann had an all-around better season. He was the better player. And even, and this is probably a hot take, Rafael Varane could have been in the conversation over Modric. He won the Champions League while being Madrid's best defender. He won the World Cup while being France's best defender. And yes, as a Chelsea fan, I'm Kings. But in all fairness, it's not even Modric's best season. He's done better. He probably won't do better, but when you look at his career as a whole, there have been so much better instances of Luka Modric. And I think it probably came down to voter fatigue. People were enough of seeing Messi or Ronaldo win the Ballon d'Or, so that's why it ranks this low. And number 31 in the league is 2002 to 2003 Pavel Nedved. Sometimes a Ballon d'Or is just synonymous with flat-out robbery, and this one is the case. It's the example. The Czech winger had a 14-goal, 14-assist season where he won the Scudetto with Juventus, the Italian Supercoppa, and had a great run in the Champions League, ultimately losing in the final. Yes, Nedved was a crucial player in the Juventus team, but it still makes no sense how he won the Ballon d'Or. First of all, maybe he would have won the Champions League final had he played in it and wasn't suspended because of a yellow card he picked up in the semis. Even me, a Chelsea fan, is completely dumbfounded how Thierry Henry didn't win the Ballon d'Or that season. He had this, and let me speak loudly in the microphone, 24 goals and 21 assists in the Premier League. What in the world? That's the kind of statistics you don't see every day. That's the kind of statistics that make a Ballon d'Or winning season. However, Pavel Nedved, for some reason, was decided by the voters, someone who didn't have that great of a career when you compare it to Thierry Henry. It just makes no sense, and Nedved drops in the ranking. However, he doesn't drop lower than Luka Modric and the others, because I do think he had a good season, pretty much a great season when you look at the statistics and the things he won. The problem is the fact that they didn't give it to Thierry Henry, it just lowers him so much in the ranking. And coming in at number 30 is in fact the following season to the 2002-2003, because it's 2003 to 2004 and Andrei Shevchenko's Ballon d'Or winning season. Now, Shevchenko has always been a hard player to judge because people talk about him like he was this world-class striker, say Lewandowski or something, but when you look at the output he had, it wasn't that good. That's my personal opinion. But for the same reason we bash Ballon d'Or winning midfielders for not having enough stats, you can say that for Shevchenko's 03-04 seasons. 29 goals and 4 assists in all competition for AC Milan. That's not that big. He would lead the league in goals and ultimately win in the Serie A with AC Milan. He would fail to win the Supercoppa or the Coppa d'Italia by crashing out in the semis. But the biggest problem of this 2003 to 2004 season is his woes in the Champions League. As defending champions, AC Milan looked to be going through to the semis after they won 4-1 at home against Deportivo La Coruña. Mate, I sure hope they don't choke in the second leg. They lost 4-0 in what is one of the most impressive chokes, comebacks, upset, whatever you want to call it. The AC Milan super team completely forgot how to play against Deportivo La Coruña. Overall, 2003 to 2004 is a weak season for Ballon d'Or candidates, and that's why Shevchenko doesn't rank higher. Number 29, Michael Owen, 2000 to 2001. The funnest man on the planet.
It's got special powers, and once we're airborne, you'll see just what I mean. Are you buckled up and ready? Great.
Michael Owen was the second youngest ever Ballon d'Or winner in 2001, and certainly the weirdest of the list. That season, he broke Liverpool's 6-year trophy drought and won 5 titles, although none of them being major trophies. The League, the Champions League, the World Cup, the Euros, etc. He would win the Carabao Cup with a win on penalties against Birmingham. Then he would follow up with an FA Cup, scoring a brace over Arsenal to win 2-1. Then he would complete the treble, in quotation marks, by winning the Europa League in a 5-4 thriller against Alaves, in which Owen assisted twice. They would then complete the season with a win in the Community Shield and the European Super Cup to end the title-stacked season. Owen would end the season with 24 goals and 7 assists, with 7 more coming with England. What goes in favour of Owen is the fact that he was so lethal during that 0-1 season. However, as aforementioned, Owen didn't win any huge trophy. In the league, he finished 3rd and quite a way off 1st, and his stats aren't mind-boggling either. Michael Owen would be one of the rare English players to win the Ballon d'Or, and his win seems even more odd when you look at the competition. What would be even weirder though was Real Madrid's decision to buy him in 2004 to play alongside the Galacticos. Thanks to the Ballon d'Or he won, Real Madrid thought it would be a great idea to bring an injury-riddled Michael Owen, who was past his prime at 24, to La Liga. That's why he completely lit the league alight and dominated for centuries and centuries. Oh, sorry, the script was wrong. He was horrendous. He stayed one season, then went back to England, and was a shadow of his former self.
Get in there!
Well done, he's 13.
Game.
So I'd like just to take this segment of the video to apologise for the quality of the production, because it's been done on Soundtrap and Clipchamp, which aren't the best. Number 28, Jean-Pierre Papin, 1990 to 1991. This would be so much higher up in the list had a couple results gone in his favour. In 1990, Jean-Pierre Papin decided enough was enough and completed one of the most remarkable seasons of his career. To start with the stats, he would score 43 for club and country, with 9 assists. Papin would then be decisive in pretty much every competition: 23 goals in the league, 6 goals and 3 assists in the Champions League, and 7 in the Coupe de France. The French striker would lead Marseille to a second consecutive Ligue 1 title, taking the Golden Boot on the way. In the Champions League and Coupe de France, he would finish top scorer and put OM in the final twice. The most impressive would be his Champions League campaign, where he would score a hat-trick in the first game, then would have an incredible stretch of scoring and assisting from the second round to the semi-final, where he would help Marseille pass the title holders AC Milan. However, the reason it doesn't rank higher is the finals, both losses. The first coming to Monaco in the Coupe de France, and the most excruciating being the loss on penalties and upset to Red Star Belgrade. Papin did his part and scored his penalty, but Marseille eventually lost after Manuel Amaros decided to take the worst run-up of all time, stopping a French European Cup. Papin lacks in trophies and finals wins, and that's why it drops. However, after a summer move to AC Milan in 1992, he would redeem himself for Marseille by watching from the bench as AC Milan lost the Champions League final to Marseille in 1993. All in good as he would finally win it in 1994. So Jean-Pierre Papin, 1990 to 91 season. A lot of goals, similar to probably a Benzema season from 2022, but in the end there just isn't the wins in the cups. So next up is Luis Figo's 1999 to 2000 season, and it is number 27 on the list. Another controversial take of the video, but trophies are so important for a Ballon d'Or case. Figo went insane at the turn of the millennium. 18 goals and 29 assists for club and country is incredible for a winger. The Blaugrana couldn't capitalise on Figo's world-beating form. They would finish second in La Liga, runner-up in the Supercopa, and semi-finalist in both the Copa del Rey and Champions League, in which they would go crashing out to Valencia. While Figo's 2000 season is eye-watering on stats, it remains the only Ballon d'Or season not to have a singular trophy, even including community shields. So, for example, the Supercoppa, the Coppa d'Italia, or the Community Shield. Ultimately, team success is a huge indicator on whether someone is worthy of the ultimate individual award in football. Figo would then go on to prove his team spirit by deciding to move to Barcelona's sworn enemy in the summer, Real Madrid, in what remains the most controversial transfer of all time. Number 26, Marco van Basten, 1991 to 92, would be a lot higher if it was his eFootball card. Magic Marco bagged 30 goals and 11 assists in all competition for AC Milan and the Netherlands. What is the best part of this season is that with AC Milan, he would win the Serie A quite comfortably as they went undefeated over 34 games. Nonetheless, he wouldn't end up top goal scorer in the Serie A, which is a blemish on his reputation. AC Milan would lose in the semi-finals of the Coppa d'Italia and didn't even participate in the Champions League, which drops this season quite significantly. His performance in Euro 1992 won him Best Player of the tournament, but it's a bit weird because he didn't score or assist once in the tournament. He would lose in the semi-finals to Denmark, who would go on to win the whole thing. This isn't Marco van Basten's magnum opus, but it was his last hurrah before an early retirement. It gets a good grade for the feat of going undefeated and the pretty good numbers, but it isn't remarkable. Number 25, 1995 to 96, Matthias Sammer. one of the forgotten Ballon d'Or winners. I didn't even know he had won one, to be honest, but Matthias Sammer was an anchor in Dortmund's Bundesliga winning team. He was the best player in Euro 96 as well, which his German side won. Sammer was undisputedly the best midfielder in the world that season, and he was so vital defensively, but also he proved to have a spark offensively, bagging 9 goals and dishing out 10 assists in the 1995-96 season. He wouldn't know the same success in the Pokal or the Champions League, with both times he would lose in the quarters. I do think Matthias Sammer's season was great and is probably, one of the best we've seen from a number 6 in the past 50 years, but the problem is Ronaldo Nazario was tearing it up in the Eredivisie for PSV. Number 24, Hristo Stoichkov, 1995-96. Again, eFootball legend right here. Stoichkov was an elegant and talented number 9 for Barcelona, who for some reason wore number 8. In the 93-94 season, Stoichkov would shine for Barcelona and the Blaugrana, bagging 30 goals and 14 assists. He would lead Barcelona to a La Liga title, showing off an insane 16 goals and 11 assists in the league. Despite setbacks in the Copa del Rey and Supercopa, Barcelona would confidently go into the 1994 Champions League final, before losing 4-0 to AC Milan in one of the most one-sided finals of all time. What really sets this season apart from the rest is Stoichkov's insane 1994 World Cup run. After eliminating France in the qualifiers, Stoichkov's Bulgaria didn't have high hopes going into the World Cup. They lost the first game 3-0 to Nigeria. However, Stoichkov would flip a switch and score in the next 5 games, with 6 goals coming in those. After a gutting 2-1 loss to the Italians in the semis, Bulgaria would completely switch off and lose their third place game 4-0. Stoichkov would end the World Cup with the Golden Boot and realistically should have won Best Player, and this season was placed higher thanks to his otherworldly World Cup campaign, which remains the most important tournament if you want to win the Ballon d'Or. Coming in at number 23, R9 2001-2002. From one World Cup run to another, R9's 2002 season is so hard to rank. For Inter Milan, he came off an injury-riddled season where he would recover from a patella tear, only to tear his hamstring a couple weeks later. The season would end with Ronaldo finishing with only 8 goals and 3 assists. Inter Milan would finish third, and apart from the Supercopa, wouldn't win anything. The cherry on top of the cake being Inter being knocked out by Feyenoord in the Europa League. However, Ronaldo decided to gamble all in for the World Cup. After being a shadow of his former self, R9 slapped in 8 goals and 1 assist for Brazil in what would ultimately lead to a World Cup win. In the final, he would score another brace and look completely unstoppable all tournament. The reason I put R9 this high is solely on his World Cup campaign and the cultural impact of it. The haircut to distract the media from his recurrent injury problems, the Brazilian kit, the Brazilian squad, that was the final Brazilian team truly capable of challenging for a World Cup. The storytelling as well. The 2001-2002 R9 season is one of a kind. Number 22, Ronaldinho 2004-2005. In my opinion, Ronaldinho's 2005 season isn't his best, but it's somehow its sole Ballon d'Or. However, the sheer statistical input of the season is incredible. 24 goals and 24 assists, and a La Liga title to add to. Ankles being broken every 2 seconds. Ronaldinho's season had Galacticos to yet another title, and with those Brazilians, he would win the Confederations Cup over Argentina. His cup runs with his club would be a lot harder. Barcelona would crash out in the second round of the Copa del Rey in one of the most excruciating upsets. In the Champions League, Barcelona would get the worst possible draw. They would lose to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, even though Ronaldo decided to score one of the most incredible goals of all time. This season's truly cemented Ronaldinho as one of the all-time greats. However, I don't think it's his best, and apart from a La Liga title, not much was won, so that's why I don't give it the edge on the things that will come up later. Number 21, Lothar Matthäus 1989-1990 season. Matthäus' 1990 season is one of the best midfielder seasons of all time. It's hard to qualify the impact that Matthäus had on his team, let alone football as a whole. Ask a lot of managers on what their image of the midfielder came from, and Matthäus is the answer. 18 goals and 9 assists for the club and country, with the highlight being winning the 1990 World Cup, with Germany being reunited barely a year ago. Talk about significance. With Inter, he won the Supercoppa, but the problem was Inter Milan dropped from first to third in Serie A. On paper, the statistics aren't mind-boggling, although already great. But Mattea's season was so good compared to other midfielders, and it completely revolutionised football. It had to be this high, but it can't go any higher. Number 20, Zinedine Zidane, 1997-98. At this point in the ranking, I started to realise how many good players and great seasons there were, and how low some of these great seasons rank, because there are just that number of quality of great seasons. A lot of midfielders won the Ballon d'Or in the 1990s when you compare it to the 2000s and 2010s. Zizou's 98 season was a thing of beauty. With 16 goals and 18 assists in all competitions for Juventus, he would lead the old lady to a Serie A Supercoppa double as the number 10. In Europe, Zidane's magic wouldn't be enough to win the lot, as Juve would fall to Real Madrid in the final. They are most known for the World Cup. As fate would have it, that year it was in France. Zidane didn't play superbly in the tournament. For me, the best player in the French squad was Youri Djorkaeff for the whole season. But he left his mark on the final with an iconic brace of headers, and he had an all-round superb performance, and he would probably have an assist if Christophe Dugarry didn't completely miss the goal. Zidane was the main man and poster boy for Juventus in France in the 1998 season, and the midfield maestro's masterclass during the season puts him at number 20. Number 19, Rodri, 2023-24. Truth is, we tend to forget just how good Rodri's Ballon d'Or season campaign was. A large part of the media had placed Vinicius as the winner, when in truth Rodri was the clear winner all the way long. Literally everything in Rodri's season was near perfect. To start with the obvious and the statistics, 13 goals and 15 assists in all competitions for a defensive midfielder are numbers that are Ballon d'Or winning. In the competitions he participated in, he won the Premier League with City, where they would go undefeated from matchday 16 to matchday 38 to beat Arsenal by 2 points. And he would follow that with a Community Shield, and during the summer of 2024, he would lead Spain to a European title and win Player of the Tournament. Had it not been for a really unlucky penalty shootout against Real Madrid, they most likely would have won the Champions League again, and had City not come blackout drunk against Manchester United in the FA Cup, maybe the treble would have been on. What truly sets this season apart is that when Rodri played for City and Spain, he didn't lose a single game in regular time all season, apart from the FA Cup final, but you can do so much when you've partied all week. What's even more insane is that Manchester City and Spain's only losses of the season came when Rodri didn't play. Rodri was so crucial to Spain and Manchester City, and you just look at Manchester City's season the following year where Rodri injured himself and just couldn't play. They weren't the same team. And that's what makes Rodri's 2023-24 season that good. He was so important to its team, arguably the most important we've seen for a player outside of Messi or Ronaldo. And that is quite the subject. And Vinicius, I didn't feel was that crucial to his team during that season. And that's why he didn't win the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. So Rodri, what a season, number 19. Number 18, Kaká, 2006-2007. Elegance exemplified, Kaká was that guy on a football field. Yes, he is helped by pretty privilege, and I do think that this season is a bit overrated, but that doesn't take anything away from its brilliance. To start with the negatives, domestic success wasn't that great for the Brazilian. AC Milan would fail to reach the top 3 in the Serie A, and they would fall short in the semis in the Coppa d'Italia. When you look at what he achieved with the Brazilian side, he asked not to go to Copa America in the summer, which Brazil would ultimately win, which is a blimp on his resume. Despite these setbacks, Kaká was so good in 2007. He scored 22 goals and 13 assists, but what truly set apart and what made this Ballon d'Or season was his Champions League campaign. 10 goals and the Golden Boot, as the number 10 I might add. And to that you can also add 3 assists, and the fact that he was involved in the last 6 games of the knockout phases. He was so good. That goal at Old Trafford just exemplifies how insane of a player he was. He would then overcome the ghosts of Istanbul to beat Liverpool and win the Champions League. Kaká's insane Champions League run saved Milan's season, and it was both Maldini's and AC Milan's last Champions League to date. For cultural impact, Kaká's away kit remains one of the most sought-out jerseys of all time, and I think this season really put Kaká into football folklore. So that's what puts it this high. Insane performance, and yes, I do think Pretty Privilege does help it to go this high, and it does sort of breathe a kind of football that was only during the 2000s, and it is kind of one of the last of this generation of football players, so that's why it's this high. Number 17, Rivaldo, 1998 to 1999. We don't hear a lot about this Ballon d'Or season, but in fact it's genuinely insane. While playing as a number 10 and a winger for Barcelona and Brazil, Rivaldo would score 35 and assist 24 and play a crucial role in the Blaugrana's La Liga title. Rivaldo's dazzling style of play would earn him the label of an entertainer in a Barcelona squad that played football that suited him perfectly. With Brazil, he would know success as well, winning the 1999 Copa America and finishing Golden Boot and Best Player of the tournament. Those in-stage stats and those title managements are enough to make us forget that there wasn't any Copa del Rey or Super Copa. However, Rivaldo's Champions League adventure would end in the group phase after being drawn in the group of death alongside Manchester United and Bayern München. That little blemishes stops it from being any higher on the list, but to be honest, it's one of the least talked about seasons of a Ballon d'Or winner. When you think about Rivaldo, you think of a player that has insane quality, but you don't really have a season in mind. And this season where, he scores 35, he assists 24 and wins a La Liga title, it really should be, the definition of Rivaldo, but people don't remember it. Number 16, Lionel Messi 2020 to 21. So this is the first entry of Messi on the list, and it's probably his worst season in a Ballon d'Or season, and the decision to name him over Lewandowski still makes no sense, but when you really look at it, Messi's season is completely insane, even though it's dropping quality compared to his other years. Messi would produce insane stats once again, 48 goals and 19 assists at 34 years of age. He would carry an absolutely horrid Barcelona team to a third in La Liga. I mean, just look at that squad. And he would also lose the Super Copa to Athletic Club, but at least he made it to the final. Barcelona would fail to make it past the second round of the Champions League after Messi got outplayed by Mbappe at Camp Nou. And, the comeback was on in the second leg if he didn't miss the penalty and Dembele could actually finish. Messi's season wasn't that bad. In the league, he finished with the top goal scorer. Then he brought another Copa del Rey to Barcelona. But what's the best thing about this season, and what we tend to forget, is that he won his first international trophy with Argentina by finally winning the Copa America and getting rid of that international choker label. By the way, he was top scorer and best player for that tournament, so he wasn't carried, as some of you Ronaldo fans like to say. Getting rid of that label would prove pretty useful 1 year later, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, the thing putting this season down is the fact that Lewandowski deserves it so much more, especially when you consider that the 1920 season was also supposed to be taken into account for the Ballon d'Or, and that season Lewandowski won pretty much everything. So it's taken down by the fact that he really shouldn't have won it, but it's still a great season. Number 15, Cristiano Ronaldo 2012 to 2013. Ronaldo's 2013 Ballon d'Or season is quite similar to Messi's 2021, but what pushes it over is, despite the lesser team's success, the statistical output of Ronaldo that season was just insane. So, for context, he was going out of a near-perfect 2012 season with Real Madrid, where they won the La Liga title, but just came short of that Champions League final. Cristiano Ronaldo continued his stellar form from under Mourinho by scoring 62 goals in all competitions and giving out an incredible 16 assists for both Real Madrid and Portugal. And unlike what is commonly said, Madrid did win a trophy that season, coming with the Spanish Super Copa, though it's not a major trophy. And to add to the list of personal achievements, Ronaldo would go thermonuclear again in the Champions League and finish as its top scorer with 12 goals and a hat-trick. But what makes this season so low on the ranking is the team's success. Real Madrid was pretty much in self-destruct mode by 2012-2013. Mourinho fell out of favour with pretty much everyone by early 2013. Real would finish second in the Liga behind a Barcelona team that was truly unplayable. And in the Copa del Rey, they would lose in the final to Atletico Madrid. Not that Ronaldo would care because he scored in that game. But Ronaldo was probably the most hurt in the Champions League because after losing in the semi-final in 2010-11 and in 2011-2012, he would continue again with a finals loss in 2012-2013, where they famously lost 4-1 to Dortmund in the opening leg, with Lewandowski scoring 4 goals. What baffles me is not how Ribéry didn't win it, like many people point out, because the statistical output on Ribéry wasn't that good, and the reason I had Pavel Nedved that low was he had pretty much similar stats, but how Messi didn't win the Ballon d'Or. He had another great season that year and won the La Liga title and won more titles than Ronaldo, so I don't know how he didn't win it, but my guess is voter fatigue once again. So this is probably going to be the most outrageous take out of anything we've seen on the list so far, but number 14, Ousmane Dembélé 2024-25. The thing with football is that recency bias is often overshadowed by nostalgia. You have people claiming that Douglas Costa would be a top 3 winger in the league and this and this and that, but I don't think any of that is impacting how good Dembélé's 2024-25 season was. What's even more surprising is how unreal this season felt. Dembélé was a Barca reject and he can't find any form and was brought to PSG to satisfy Mbappe's demands in 2023. Even at the beginning of 2024, Dembélé looks just so appalling. I mean, look at the game against Girona, that miss is insane. And at one point they were virtually eliminated in the Champions League. However, PSG comeback win against Manchester City turned Dembélé and PSG's season. Luis Enrique repositioned Dembélé as a false 9 and he went off. He scored 35 goals and 16 assists to win both Golden Boot and Ligue 1. Add to that the Trophée des Champions and the Coupe de France, PSG did a domestic sweep. But we've kind of become numb to PSG winning everything in La Ligue 1, so what truly set Dembélé apart is the fact that he finally managed to break the curse and bring PSG's first Champions League. And what a way to do it, by the way. They eliminated Liverpool, who was first in the regular season, Aston Villa, Arsenal, and the cherry on top of the cake was the final, where PSG blew Inter out of the water 5-0. It was the second most impressive Champions League win and performance. I think Barcelona's 2011 season was more impressive, and their final certainly was. And they played football that was fast and free-flowing, and it felt really a joy to watch that PSG team. But Ousmane Dembélé was the centerpiece of an all-conquering PSG squad, who won every competition they were enlisted in, apart from the Club World Cup, because Cole Palmer did Cole Palmer things. Ousmane Dembélé allowed PSG to go to that next level, which is weird because you've really thought that it was with stars like Mbappe, like Messi, like Neymar that they were going to be able to do this sort of things. But turns out it was someone like Dembélé who was the key to winning everything. I don't understand how Lamine Yamal could have been placed over him, but Ousmane, what a player you are. You deserve every praise, and I hope you come back even better. Number 13, Karim Benzema, 2021-22. No singular season has done this much to save a reputation, apart from probably Dembele's one, but I still prefer Karim Benzema. Benzema went from a club legend to a flat-out icon in 2022. In all competitions, Benzema scored 38 and got 15 assists with that. And in La Liga, without any competition, Atletico weren't there and Barcelona were having their financial troubles. That allowed Real to storm to a La Liga and Supercopa double, and Karim would win Pichichi with 27 goals in La Liga. But Madrid had already won the league without Ronaldo once, but this wasn't the sole reason. Matter of fact, Benzema could have finished with 10 goals in the league and just trophyless. He still would have finished Ballon d'Or solely for his 2021-22 Champions League campaign. No one, and I remember this, no one had Madrid as contenders, and Benzema would lead Madrid to win their group, which to be honest was pretty simple, but they would face PSG in the round of 16. Down 2-0 on aggregate at the 60th minute of the second leg, Benzema would pull off his first miracle of the year and score a hat-trick to win the game. And from that point, it just felt like there was a miracle every single game. He would score a hat-trick against Chelsea in the opening leg, and in the second leg, they nearly choked a 3-1 lead, only for Benzema to score the winner once again. As if 2 miracles was enough, once again down 2-0 on aggregate with 5 minutes to go against Pep City, Real Madrid would somehow find a way to send the game to extra time before a Karim Benzema winner. Again. In the final, they would once again find a way to win Champions League number 14. Benzema would finish top scorer of Europe with 15 goals, which is quite simply insane. Benzema's season was off the charts statistically, and it felt like a movie every time you wrote that Real Madrid team off. You thought you had seen it all, there's no way they're coming back, and they found a way to impress us even more. He would then proceed to take this momentum into a fantastic 2022 World Cup, where he would injure himself and get into an argument with a French coach. However, this 2022 season by Benzema is insane because it had a huge cultural impact, and statistically it was so good. Plus he won on Champions League, and he won La Liga. So what a season from Karim Benzema. Number 12, Lionel Messi, 2009 to 2010. Now, this one's going to be a bit weird because it's probably the least good of Messi's 4-year run in the Ballon d'Ors in the early 2010s. This one was the second, and it was the first season where Pep really tried to, transition Messi into a false nine. Well, that resulted in an even better production statistic-wise. Barcelona failed to replicate their success of 2009 because the squad wasn't, tailored exactly to Messi. They had brought Zlatan in the summer, they still had Thierry Henry and other players. But still, 48 goals and 18 assists. A La Liga and a Champions League top scorer, La Liga title and a Super Copa is a Ballon d'Or season, and it's a great season in fact. But for some reason 2010 feels like a letdown because it was anticipated for Barcelona to absolutely dominate in all competitions. Yes, they got rid of Samuel Eto'o for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and everybody regarded Ibrahimovic as the better player. That Barcelona side, it never really clicked like the 09 side clicked. For Messi, the highs were very, very high. He scored 4 goals against Arsenal in 2010, but the lows were so low, and that came in the Champions League final where he was muzzled by the Inter Milan defence and was powerless in their semi-final loss. In the World Cup, things wouldn't get any better, as though Messi was pretty good throughout the side. They lost to Germany 4-0, with Messi not managing to score once during the whole tournament. But what puts it ahead of the likes of Benzema and Dembele is that it remains an incredible season, and the statistical output is just insane. And we tend to put the season down because he's named Messi, and when you compare it to the rest of his seasons, it's less good. But had the player not been named Messi or Ronaldo, it would have been here, and so that's why it's number 12. Number 11, Lionel Messi, 2022 to 23. I swear I'm not a Messi hater. It's just that the list has so much Messi, and even though he completes football in this season, it pales in comparisons to one that are higher up the list. At the time, it felt like the most controversial Ballon d'Or there was, but as you look back, it gets better and better. For the season, his stats are insane. He scored 45 goals and got 32 assists for club and country aged, 37 or 36. And yes, I did include his stats for Inter Miami, but it technically was during the season, so it works. Messi would get a 2020 season in Liga and win it, and a Trophée des Champions, and technically win a World Cup with Inter Miami, but what people tend to forget is that Messi during his first season at PSG was horrible, but in his second season, he was really, really good. And what elevates this season is the World Cup. It was supposed to be his last chance to win a World Cup, and unlike Ronaldo, Messi actually turned up to the tournament to win it. And after a surprise loss to Saudi Arabia, that Messi just managed to be an instrumental part in every game and finally seal his ultimate prize in the wildest game of football. Messi won Best Player of the tournament and moved like a man possessed throughout it, although that doesn't make the Argentina team any more likeable. The biggest critique of this season is PSG's collapse post-World Cup. There wasn't any motivation in the star-studded team anymore. Neymar and Messi's production dropped. Well, Messi because for him, he had the feeling that he had already completed football. Neymar was probably not over that loss against Croatia. And Mbappe, who had just gone off a World Cup hat-trick, was feeling more like a star than ever and started playing even more individually. The chinks in the armour started to appear when it became apparent that PSG's midfield was horrendous, and PSG crashed out for a second time consecutively in the round of 16 of the Champions League. Messi deserves this Ballon d'Or so much. It was insane for Argentina, and we really forget that he wasn't that bad for PSG. So that's why it ends here on the list. Number 10, Cristiano Ronaldo, 2016 to 2017. Noodle hair isn't enough to fool me. CR7's 2017 season is quite overrated. For Real Madrid, he scored 42 goals and got 12 assists, but he dropped in efficiency and production. His repositioning to a centre forward inflating his goal scoring numbers, so that's one of the things to see. He had less impact on the game as a whole, but he was still great. Ronaldo would know one of his most successful seasons as a merengue trophy-wise. He would win the La Liga title for a second and last time, and add to that a Supercopa. This would prove to be his best season in terms of domestic success in Spain, even though the case for La Liga was not helped by what happened at the Bernabeu on matchday 35. Cristiano's main focus for his 27th season was the back-to-back Champions Leagues. He scored 15 goals, including a brace and hat-trick against Bayern Munich in the quarters, another hat-trick against Atletico in the semis, and yet another brace in the final against Juventus. But what ruins the reputation of this Champions League run is the questionable decisions, whether it be horrendous officiating against Bayern or Cuadrado's red card in the final. There is certainly blood on Real Madrid's hands for this Champions League. Otherwise, Ronaldo scored 18 goals for Portugal that year, which is his highest in the season for his international side, so that proves Ronaldo had a great season. All in all, I just don't think that 2017 is Ronaldo's best season, and it's not that good compared to his other seasons. However, it still remains such a good season. He's capable of winning a La Liga and Champions League double and has an insane output. Number 9, R9, 1996-97. Ronaldo Nazario's 1997 season is the only non-Messi or Ronaldo season in the top 10, which just goes to show how insane of a player he was, and B, how insane this season was for him. After losing the Ballon d'Or by 1 vote to Sama in 1996, R9 went insane for Barcelona and Brazil during that season. Simply put, he won everything: La Liga, Cup Winners' Cup, Copa del Rey, Supercopa, Copa America, which he finished best player of, and a CONMEBOL. Ronaldo's Barcelona team and Brazil did it all. He scored 47 for his club and another 19 for Brazil, and assisted 13 for his club and 10 for the country. How did Barcelona repay this favour? They didn't re-sign him and let him go to Inter Milan in what has to be the biggest mistake in football history. However insane this season is, it doesn't stack up to the sheer production of the monster seasons that are about to come up, which are mostly Messi and Ronaldo seasons, but it still goes to show how little we talk about Ronaldo Nazario and how good he was at a young age. This was the youngest Ballon d'Or winner, and the output is quite insane. When you look, it compares to Cristiano Ronaldo's first Ballon d'Or season and Ronaldo and Messi's first Ballon d'Or season. So when you look at the facts, it's quite a shame that Ronaldo Nazario had the injuries he had following this Ballon d'Or season, because you really think, what could he have become? This was age 21. Just, again, that's insane. Number 8, Cristiano Ronaldo, 2015-2016. In what is, in my opinion, the best season of the three-peat years for Ronaldo, because Ronaldo managed to win that year with Real and Portugal for the first time ever. Real Madrid would be nowhere near in the league or the Copa del Rey thanks to Rafa Benitez's masterclass of management, in which he played Denis Cheryshev, who was ineligible. So Madrid got disqualified from that competition, in fact. But Madrid's season would completely change, and for a matter of fact, Ronaldo's season as well. When Zidane was appointed in January of 2016, Madrid would come so close to winning La Liga, coming 1 point off eventual champs Barcelona. But in the Champions League, and especially thanks to Ronaldo, Real Madrid would be a different beast. He would score 16 goals and assist 4. With 4 goals in the group phase, yes, that's a 4-goal game, a hat-trick against Wolfsburg in the Champions League second leg, the Champions League winning penalty. There is a serious case for Ronaldo's 2016 Champions League campaign to be his best Champions League winning campaign. However, it clearly isn't his best both statistically and in winning, and that's why he ranks lower than his other wins, but it feels like the best season of the 3P, and it also felt a bit like one of the last physical peak of Ronaldo before he truly transitioned into a striker, so that's why it lands at number 8 on the list. Number 7, Lionel Messi 2008 to 2009. The first ever Ballon d'Or for Messi, and certainly his most complete from a winning perspective. Messi and Pep's Barcelona burst onto the scene in outstanding fashion in 2009. Considered by many, not me, as the greatest squad ever assembled, the tiki-taka style fit Messi and Barcelona perfectly, and it elevated Messi to another standard. He took a giant leap in production compared to the year before, with 41 goals and 21 assists at just 22 years of age. Most importantly, Barca won everything there was to win that season. In La Liga, they thrashed Madrid 6-2 at the Bernabeu to win the league, and domestically they also seized the Supercopa and Copa del Rey, so that's already a domestical treble. You add to that the fact that in Europe, Messi dominated the Champions League with a Golden Boot, winning 9 goals, with the most famous of the bunch coming against Manchester United and Ronaldo in the final. Barcelona were champions of Europe again, and this was Messi's first true European trophy, because in 2006 he didn't play the final. While this might not be statistically the most impressive season of Messi's career, I mean, he still scored 41 goals and got 21 assists. The combination of team success and individual performance makes it one of the best, and it lands at the 7th spot. Number 6, Ronaldo 2007-2008. Ronaldo's first Ballon d'Or is the most aesthetically pleasing, and certainly the one with the biggest cultural impact. In 2008, CR7 repaid all the praise that Sir Alex Ferguson had been giving him over the years, and also silenced the English media, which is always a plus. As a right winger and not a central midfielder, Ronaldo would go for 42 goals and 9 assists, with some of them being absolute golazos. In the league, Ronaldo would end up top scorer, as Manchester United retained their crowns as champions of England, with Ronaldo scoring some insane goals, like the one against Portsmouth. That free kick is genuinely insane. Remember when he can actually take free kicks as well and not shoot from the corner flag. Manchester United would complete the double with an FA Cup win, and in fact that double would become a treble when in the rainy night in Moscow in 2008, Manchester United beat Chelsea on penalties, with Ronaldo scoring in that game, although he didn't score the penalty. So that would be the first treble winning season for Manchester United since 1999, with Cristiano Ronaldo as the catalyst for that season. However, Ronaldo's average Euro 2008 stops this from being any higher on the list, Portugal losing in the quarters. Ronaldo couldn't manage the same level of success with Portugal that he had with United, and thus isn't any higher. I don't think this season 2007-2008 is Ronaldo's best, but it certainly is his best in terms of dribbling ability, when Ronaldo really felt like a pure winger. However, he finally managed to add to his game that lethal goal-scoring ability that would be so crucial for him at the end of his career. And we will see probably when this video comes out, or when you're watching this, has he obtained 1,000 goals? Probably the answer is yes. 2008 still feels like such a good season, especially once you consider the fact that he was so young at that time. So 2007-2008, what a season for Cristiano Ronaldo, and it ranks 6th on the list, and now we get into the top 5. Number 5, Messi 2018-2019. Quite possibly one of the single greatest carry jobs in football history. Messi did a 2018 LeBron and decided to carry an old, aging and pretty bad Barcelona team to a La Liga title and Champions League. After the disappointment of 2018, Messi flipped a switch with 54 goals and 24 assists in all competitions aged 31. Alone, he willed Barcelona to a La Liga and Supercopa double and ended as top scorer in La Liga, thanks to also Ronaldo leaving the league. But most of the work in the season came in the Champions League, where he was absolutely class. He scored 12 and assisted 3 and was the deciding factor in every Barcelona win. He was class against Lyon, he was class against Manchester United, and probably his best game of the season came in the first leg against Liverpool, where his free kick seemed to put Barcelona in the Champions League. But everything crumbled at Anfield. Origi, Wijnaldum again, and finally Origi put the final nail in the coffin as Barcelona were out in the Champions League after losing 4-0.
Corner taken quickly, Origi!
For the second year running, a second leg comeback made Barcelona crash out of Europe, and things wouldn't get any better in the Copa America, where he would lose in the semis and miss out again on another international trophy. Had Messi won one of the two, probably more the Champions League, 2018-19 would have been top of the list, but it doesn't work like that, so it ends up 5th. Number 4, Ronaldo 2013-2014. Ronaldo's best and most complete Ballon d'Or season finished 4th on this list. Although 2014 was a step down compared to 2013 statistically, with Ronaldo only scoring 54 goals and 20 assists, 2014 managed to bring the team success that 2013 didn't. While Atletico managed to shock both Barcelona and Madrid to win the league in 2014, Ronaldo nonetheless finished top scorer of La Liga, and Madrid really weren't that far off the top spot. In the Cups, Ronaldo went 3 for 3 with Madrid. In the Copa del Rey, CR7 ensured Madrid made it to the final with a brace against Atleti. Injured for the final, Bale finished off Ronaldo's work with that solo goal. In the UCL, Ronaldo has his best season to date, 17 goals and 5 assists. Determined not to repeat the mistakes of the past, he would kick off the competition with a hat-trick, followed by a brace. Incredibly, Ronaldo would fail to score once in the whole tournament. Then Real Madrid would get the last laugh over Atletico and win La Decima in one of the most iconic Champions League finals, with Ronaldo getting a goal and an assist in extra time with the slaughter of the Colchoneros. Finally, he would win his final trophy of the season with the European Super Cup in 2014. Ronaldo's 2014 was the last true season of his physical peak, where he felt like a winger and not a striker. He was able to distribute assists and goals, a quality that is often overlooked. We don't think of Ronaldo as a true assister, but when you look at his stats, they're quite good. However, Ronaldo doesn't come any higher due to 2 reasons: his horrendous World Cup and, well, this following Lionel Messi seasons. But still, 2013-14 is such a great season for Ronaldo, and that's why he ends up 4th on the list. Before kicking off the podium, thank you very much if you managed to end up here and complete the video. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the video. Number 3, Lionel Messi, 2010-2011. After the 2010 letdown, Messi and Barcelona hit the ground running in 2010-11. For me, it's the best squad ever assembled. It won the Liga, the Supercopa, the Champions League, and had it not been a loss in the Copa del Rey final, they would have won everything, emulating their 2009 squad. On a personal standpoint, Messi was entering his false 9 peak. 53 goals and 27 assists are eye-watering stats. That entire Barcelona team was built around him. At countless times, Messi would just drop back and dribble the entire defense. In La Liga, Messi would score his first successive title, but wouldn't win Pichichi, as Ronaldo would have a superb season as well. However, he would score a 30-goal, 20-assist season, which is still the only time that's ever happened. However, Messi would have his most complete Champions League campaign, getting 12 goals, the Golden Boots, and 4 assists in the Champions League, with wonder goals coming against Arsenal and bitter rivals Real Madrid. Messi's magnum opus would be the 2011 Champions League final against Manchester United. The rematch of 2009 would prove to be a battering, as Manchester United did not have Ronaldo, and Messi exposed Manchester's flaw and truly marked a switch in modern tactics. Messi would be named man of the match and would win his 3rd Champions League final. They would then seal the deal with a European Super Cup win in August 2011 to truly be kings of Europe. Messi would not capitalise on this form in the Copa America, where he failed to score as the Albiceleste lost again, this time in the quarter-final. 2010-11 would be the most successful of Messi's first 9 seasons, and produced a level of football that we most likely won't see ever again. But what truly was the best is the fact that Barcelona managed to win truly with him having a great statistical output, and that's what earns him the top 3. Plus, that season is insane, and the finals performance will be remembered forever. Number 2, Messi 2011-2012. Remember when I just said that Messi's 2010-2011 season couldn't be replicated? Well, I lied, because it can. And in fact, it was blown out the water by the 2011-2012 season. 2011-2012 remains the most mind-boggling season by a Ballon d'Or winner, and in fact, just the most mind-boggling season ever by an individual when you look at the sheer statistical output. The statistics are otherworldly, in fact. No Ballon d'Or winner has registered more goals in a season or has registered more assists in a season. That's right, 86 goals for club and country and 36 assists. You can't even say those numbers are video game-like, because I don't think I've ever had a single FIFA career mode save where someone has scored 91 in a season. In fact, in 2012, he would beat the calendar goal scoring record with 91. He would score 14 in the Champions League and be the top scorer. But what really was the most insane part was La Liga, where he came 1 assist away from being both the top scorer and top assister. He would finish the season with 50 goals and 16 assists. He would score an average of goal every 72 minutes for Barcelona and 1 goal every 65 minutes in La Liga. Total, he would bag 12 hat-tricks, with 2 of them being 4-goal games and 1 of them being a 5-goal in a single game in the Champions League against Leverkusen. Messi would lead Barcelona to a Copa del Rey Supercopa double, but would fall short to Mourinho's Real Madrid in La Liga. However, the most notable collapse came in the Champions League. At the Nou Camp, leading 2-1 on aggregate against 10-men Chelsea, Barcelona would completely crumble as Ramirez would equalise and virtually eliminate Barcelona. Messi would miss the winning penalty, and Fernando Torres, well, Gary, take it away.
The season, it's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
2011-2012 remains the most impressive singular season of all time, but the fact that Messi couldn't lead Barcelona to a Champions League or a La Liga makes it fall off first place. However, it still remains the most mind-boggling season from an individual ever. Number 1, Lionel Messi, 2014-2015. Sometimes just a bit less can lead to so much more. After the disappointment of 2014, both in the World Cup and with Barcelona, things had to change. With the arrivals of Suarez in the summer of 2014, Messi decided to stop playing false 9 and would smartly move to the right wing as he would lead the Messi-Suarez-Neymar attacking trio. Although his goal-scoring output dropped compared to 2012 and 2013, Messi only scored 62 goals for club and country, but Messi also became an incredible facilitator with 36 assists. In 2014-15, Messi was both a leader on and off the pitch and led Barcelona to win everything. Messi led them to a La Liga and Copa del Rey double, with MSN terrorising the whole of Spain. In the Champions League, Messi would finish as top scorer with 10 goals, as Barcelona would storm past the champions of the Netherlands, France, Germany, England, and would ultimately beat Italian champions 3-1 in Berlin. Messi would not score in the final, but would prove so valuable throughout the whole tournament. He would link up play to maximise the attacking potential of the team, but also take things into his own hands or feet. Just ask Jerome Boateng. This season by Messi feels so much better than 2012 because the statistical input is still there, but this time Messi manages to lead his team and his teammates to shine and win major trophies. Messi was the glue between the most lethal attack of the past 30 years. MSN's cultural impact was insane. Every time an attacking trio has popped up, we use their initials. And although we've tried to replicate MSN with MCN, M&M or BBC, none have managed to equal the goals or the winning. That's why it has to be the best ever season to win the Ballon d'Or, because ultimately it's the best season the players had in terms of production, in terms of winning, in terms of impact. Yes, if I had to choose a player, I would choose 2012 Messi. But if I had to choose a season by a player, I would choose 2015 Messi. And so that's why, for me, it ranks as the best Ballon d'Or winning season of all time. So, thank you very much for watching the whole of the video. If someone has watched the video, I hope this does do better than 0 views, because I had uploaded once something to YouTube and there were 2 views and they were both me. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. I probably won't be uploading because I didn't realise just how much time this whole thing would take. I mean, the script is insane. The research I had to do took quite a long time, and especially the audio. I didn't realise how hard it was to not sound bad, even though I probably will do for the whole video. Looking back, I sound like I'm speaking in a microwave, but we move on. But thank you very much. I probably will be talking about sport. I probably won't be talking in English. I could be speaking in French in my future videos. I will see what I'll be trying to do. So thank you very much. I will do stuff about sport right now, which seems like the better thing to... Oh, I just shot the microphone. Oh my god, I'm pressing on a button right now. Okay, sorry about that. This is a bit of improvisation, so thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.